Welcome back. A monthly ranking here in Max Talks Movies. Today is August 31st, so it's time to stop and rank all 8 movies that I saw in the month of August. I can't wait to talk about it with you guys. But first, before we start this video, guys, please subscribe, ring the bell if you're new to the channel. I do these monthly videos every single month here on the channel. I also do movie reviews, TV show reviews, and a box office breakdown show. Also, if you're new to these type of videos, I don't go full in deep with these rankings. I just give my brief thoughts on the films. At the end of the video, you'll see a playlist to click on for all my movie reviews of this year, all 8 movies in depth into 8 to 12-minute videos. They should be there for you guys to check out. Also, please like the video, guys. The thumbs up, that's the best way to support the channel. And comment down below. Let me know every single movie that you saw in the month of August. It was a weird month. I was moving across the country to college, so I didn't get to every single movie as I usually do. But starting basically in September, I'm back to watching every single thing possible coming out. So let's start out, guys, with this list. And coming in number 8 is The Kissing Booth 3, a movie that franchise that I absolutely despise. Just not a big fan of the Kissing Booth franchise. Number 1 was the worst movie of that year, in my opinion. The second one was the worst one of that year, and this one adds to that. It's just not a great franchise whatsoever. I did give the movie a centimeter of credit, that they're trying to give a message with Joey King's character, but it just doesn't all the way come together. These are privileged kids who for the first 45 minutes of this movie are just doing some fun vacation stuff because they're actors on vacation, it feels like. And then the movie goes from over the top, all these zany, insane things that spring break kids don't even do, or summer kids don't even do. And then it becomes a dead serious movie for the rest hour, 10 minutes of it left. So I was very disappointed with Kiss. And not disappointed, I just don't like these franchise whatsoever. You can tell that Jacob Elordi and Joey King, the outside of the movie, their drama kind of came here with Jacob Elordi getting pretty much a backseat in this movie. And characters keep making awful decisions throughout the entire film. Everyone's too mean or either too nice. It's just a little bit too ridiculous. So a non-relatable film, even though it's aimed right for my demographic. I'm literally heading to college, just like Joey King and Joel Courtney's characters are in this movie. I just can't stand this franchise whatsoever. Let's move into number 8. And that, let me just find that really quick. That is the new Netflix film this month, which was Beckett. John David Washington. No one really was talking about this movie. It comes from one of the second unit directors on the last 2 Guadagnino films, Calling by Your Name and Suspiria, getting his feature-length debut. Did not like this movie, and I was pretty disappointed because I do love John David Washington. I love Alicia Vikander. Vicky Creeps in a very minor role as well. And especially, I'm just a big John David Washington fan. I think he's one of the best actors right now of his generation upcoming at the moment. This film, it has a really unique story, and the film does move as he's basically on the run for the entire movie. And John David Washington and Alicia Vikander's relationship in the first 10, 15 minutes of the movie is actually quite good. But as the movie progressed, and it just became John David Washington finding people and then going, and then finding people, turning on him, finding people who help him. It's one of the more repetitive movies I've seen of the entire year. He just keeps going to people, and they're either going to turn on him, or they're going to trust him. And you can tell each time when someone's a good person who he's aligning himself with or not a good person. And this movie is also quite ridiculous. There are some weird stunts in this movie. This movie needs to be a grounded, serious movie, and it is for a lot of it. But overall, they go for there's like a Dark Knight scene where, you know how Batman jumps off the roof and he falls onto the truck. John David Washington does a very similar stunt, even though he's playing not a superhero. There are multiple times where he should have died in this movie, but they kind of make him a superhero, which is so weird because this is a very grounded, serious topic about government and all type of stuff. So this for me was a disappointing film. It's not one of the worst films of the year, but for me, as a huge fan of John David Washington and how the creative Guadagnino as a producer, a pretty disappointing Netflix original movie. Let's keep moving, guys, with Reminiscence. I saw this a week late after it came out. I saw it on HBO Max. I was one of the rare people, I guess, who wanted to see this movie because it didn't make anything at the box office. And it was the week I was moving, so I couldn't go see it in theaters to support the film. But this is a movie that I wanted to be special. The trailers really got to me. Rebecca Ferguson's one of my, if not my favorite actresses working today, in my top 3 at the moment. She is must watch in my opinion. Hugh Jackman, of course, is always great. Tandy Newton, from co-creator of Westworld, Lisa Joy, who is married to Jonathan Nolan, who both created Westworld. Jonathan Nolan is obviously Christopher Nolan's brother. So Lisa Joy getting her own sci-fi noir detective film was really interesting. They got the right people on the cast, and the cast is great in this movie. And the actual world building of this film is also really great when you have the cities are kind of flooding. Everyone's waiting to their death. They can't really survive this fate of this sci-fi noir film. The fact that the detective film, I think, is really interesting. And the way it's a detective film with this machine, Reminiscence, where people can see your memories and people can record it and use it for government purposes as well. That whole idea works. But the actual mystery of the entire film just doesn't work because you don't get why Hugh Jackman, after a 3-month relationship with Rebecca Ferguson's character, is just so passionate about going after her, even though they were together for, again, 3 months, not that long. And you get 2 scenes of them together in the present time in a relationship. And then we just cut to 3 months later, Hugh Jackman's pissed off that she has disappeared and he wants to find out where she is. And the mystery with her character is good because you're not, again, the greatness of the movie is you're not sure if Rebecca Ferguson is a good person who actually loves Hugh Jackman or she's a shady criminal-like character. And that unknowing is kind of got me through the movie because also Tandy Newton is great in the movie and she's a badass, but she's really only in the first hour of this movie. She disappears in the last 50 minutes of the movie, which is so disappointing because I liked her and Jackman's dynamic of friendship. The villains are very much stereotypical villains in these type of sci-fi films. So overall, a disappointing movie for me because I really wanted to love this movie, the cast, the people behind the project, but it didn't come all the way together in my opinion. Let's keep rolling, guys. I think now we are at number 5, if I'm not mistaken, and that is Vevo. Vevo is the brand new Netflix animated film that came out this month. It's been a long month. In fact, the Vevo and another movie I'll be talking about came out in this month. This movie I was excited for. I'm a pretty good fan of Lin-Manuel Miranda and his music. The fact that his original songs, he's voicing the lead character in this film. And it just, again, this film is so fun to watch. The animation's great. The showing of these cultures is really great. It's something you don't see in animation today. The voice cast is really strong in here, getting Lynn to sing, Gloria Estefan to sing, all these different things is really great. The first 15 minutes of this movie was fantastic, the relationship between Andres and Vevo. But once Gabby became a main player in this movie, the film absolutely tanks from there. Not an awful way, but just it becomes a childish movie. It was a very serious first 15 minutes of the movie. Yes, is there an animal singing? But the actual relationship was very real between Vevo and Andres. And then you bring a kid to be with Vevo on this journey to give this letter to Gloria Estefan's character. It just did not work and became too childish. Also, for such a simple story, it had way too much going on. There's a Girl Scout subplot. There's multiple animals voiced by Brian Tyree Henry and Michael Rooker, who have too much screen time in this movie because their characters is just another adventure to pull us away from the emotional main story that this movie has. In here is a special movie. I didn't hate it. I think it's a fine movie. It's a very watchable, fine movie. I give it a 3 out of 5, but I wanted more out of Vevo. Let's move into number 4. Yes, number 4. Sorry, I'm just making sure I'm on the right pace here. My number 4 movie I just watched over the weekend, and that was Vacation Friends, a Hulu original film with Lil Rel and John Cena, Yvonne Orji, many others are in this film. I actually had more fun time. It seems like most people did. It had a pretty divisive film. I did not like this movie as much as I wanted to, but the first, I would say 30 minutes of this movie is really fun on this Mexico trip with Lil Rel, Yvonne Orji's characters, and they meet up with Meredith Hagner and John Cena. John Cena for me was really great in this movie. I know I'm not a big John Cena person, but he was really hilarious in this movie and kept my energy up throughout the entire film. And I really liked him and Lil Rel's dynamic throughout the entire film. But I thought the first 30 minutes of this movie would be the entire movie. I did not know we were going back to the 7 months later, but now Lil Rel and Orji's character are getting married, and John Cena. The actual premise of this movie is actually really brilliant. How you go on vacation and you meet people who'll never talk to again, or you don't want in your actual day-to-day life. And the fact that these people want to come back into their lives is a really good plot. For me, it holds the film down a lot is that it has a hard time balancing being these super, super eccentric and over the top with what is going on this vacation. And then they want to go dead serious at times. It doesn't always work. I think they should have just calmed down a little bit. There were too many over the top things happening in this movie that make absolutely no sense. And there's also just way too much going on. There's a whole subplot with Lil Rel trying to gain his fiance's father's approval. Yvonne Orji's dad hates Lil Rel. Her brother hates Lil Rel. Lil Rel Howery. There's so much going on. Lil Rel has coworkers who he's friends with, but doesn't want at the wedding. There's just way too much going on in such a simple story. And that's why the first 30 minutes was fun. And then once we went back to the wedding, it became pretty dimmed down. Where we went from this over the top vacation movie to at times over the top, serious. It was a hard time to balance. But for me, I really did have a fun time watching Vacation Films, another 3 out of 5 film. And these next 3 films are really great in the top 15, I think top 13 or 12 of the year, actually, for me. Moving in at number 3, guys, is Free Guy, a movie that is doing really well at the box office. I'm really happy. I really, really did like this movie a lot. And again, back to back on this list, Lil Rel, who's also in this movie, as you see behind me. I do like Ryan Reynolds a lot. Ryan Reynolds is doing Ryan Reynolds, and that was perfectly okay to me. But the standout in the entire movie was Jodie Comer's character. And this is such a fresh movie because all these video game movies now are all based famous video game IPs. And it's so fresh to see a new video game world where it's not based on any IP. It's a created video game for this movie. And you have all these characters, and the movie works for a lot of people. If you're a gamer, you can really take a lot out of this movie. If you're not, you get a lot to learn, but also you care about the story. And Jodie Comer's character, for me, was by far the best. She had the toughest job to do was play 2 completely different characters. She had to play this badass, kick-ass player in the video game world, then she had to play her true self in the human world. I thought that was really brilliantly acted by her. Nice to see Joe Keery. Lil Rel was a really nice friend. And the Ryan Reynolds story of not being a playable character, but wanting to live his life. Doesn't matter if it's a fake life or it's a real life. He wanted to live his world. This movie has a lot of great cameos, especially by Channing Tatum, was the funniest part of the entire movie. I was very disappointed with how Taika Waititi was used. His character was not funny, in my opinion, whatsoever. Talk about divisive character. Some people you either love this character or you hate his character. I'm on the hate level. I really did not like his villainous character. He's supposed to be the super smart guy, but he makes too many just really dumb decisions in the movie. And I wanted to laugh a little bit more, but as a whole, guys, I really did like Free Guy. It's one of my favorite, again, top 12 movies of the year. I'm so happy it's doing well. I'm happy that we're getting a sequel. Good for Free Guy, good for Ryan Reynolds. Let's talk about number 2, the most recent film on this list, and that is Candyman. Now, this movie I did not know was going to be this divisive. I watched the first one, 1992 film, the night before. I dug this movie a lot. Nia DaCosta is completely the star of this movie. Her direction is superb. Her visual takes, the way she shoots certain kills. It's not just a regular slasher where we're going to see kills. She shoots them in really unique ways. The way she shoots Chicago as a whole in this movie is really great. I'm a huge fan of Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, who is once again fantastic and proves why he is a lead actor in Hollywood. He's really fantastic in this movie. Playing a character who does tie in directly to the original film. Tiona Paris, Coleman Domingo, Tony Todd in very limited role. They're all really great. Vanessa Williams, all very great in this movie. The score is really great. And how much, I didn't know it would connect this much to the first one. Again, I watched the first film for the first time the night before I saw this in theaters. So happy on how much this actually connected and tied in to the first one. And there's some good reveals. I watched it with a friend who hadn't seen the first one. He loved it too. I'm happy a lot of people, I know a lot of people are divisive and I totally get it. But for me, I did dug this. So my main issue with the movie is the last 15 minutes of the movie, the third act. The first 2 acts is a good slow build setting up what's going to happen. And then it kind of feels like they told Nia DaCosta this is an hour-and-a-half movie. And she it was kind of like, oh, here we go. Here comes the third act. And the movie's over. It was such a rushed third act, which took it away from being, for me, a top 5 film of the year. But I still really dug Candyman. Both the first one and the second one for me and this one do such a great job with the lore. And I hope we get another one because the lore they've added, not just to this one, but to the original film, it really does feel like a cool franchise. But coming in first place at number 1, and not just of the month, but the entire year is The Suicide Squad. And again, another John Cena movie. I absolutely love this movie. And it's a really special DC film for me because for me, it's by far the best DCEU film they've ever done. I think I like this better than both Guardians films. I am on the plus end of this film. The cast is so fun to watch, but James Gunn, again, is the star. Yes, perfect cast. We have Margot Robbie and Idris Elba, John Cena, and Joel Kinnaman, and David Dalsmanchian, and even Sylvester Stallone voicing King Shark, and Ratcatcher 2, and all these other characters. And James Gunn is the star of this movie. Not just is the movie wild and hilarious and has a bunch of heart, he had a tough task giving all these characters enough screen time to do what they need to do. And they each had their own moment. Even the characters who got killed off in the first 10 minutes of the movie, everyone had their moment. And James Gunn knew that. It's one of the funniest films of the entire year thus far. I was laughing throughout the entire film. I saw this film on IMAX on a Thursday night. Then I watched it 2 days later on HBO Max. I really did love this movie. It's my favorite movie of the year. I think this is the best thing DC has done in I would say even a decade. I mean, this and Joker for me are the two best things DC has done in a decade. Very excited to see the Peacemaker TV show, which I will be covering here in January. But I just can't believe that this movie, again, didn't do well. That does not detract my love of The Suicide Squad. So that's my thoughts. That's my ranking of the month of August. As I just said, big things, guys, possibly are coming to the channel. I am possibly going to go to get a pass so I can go to all these movies advanced screenings, and my reviews will be coming much earlier than usual, which I'm very excited to announce. Once I get that confirmation that I can do those advanced screenings, I will be letting you guys know here on the channel during one of my reviews. Upcoming videos here on the channel, guys, I'll be doing my What If spoiler review tomorrow, and tomorrow I'll be giving you my season 1 review of Monsters at Work, season 1 ending tomorrow. And then Thursday night will be my review of Shang-Chi and the Legend of Ten Rings. I'm seeing that Thursday night. I'll give you my review on Thursday night, East Coast time. In the box office breakdown show, there's so much reviews of everything coming out. So you got to ring that bell, notify when one more videos drop. We'll see you guys.